Hello, my most fabulous artist. So I am creating a stamped frame for an artwork that I did. So I created this artwork and I wanted to create a frame for it, and I wanted to do that by using the stamping technique. One thing I wanted to talk to you about is when you are creating a frame for your artwork, or a mat for the artwork, you want something that will look nice with the artwork. So you definitely would choose colors that you used in here that would really complement that artwork. So the reason I chose the blue is because I had a lot of the reds and yellows and oranges, and I wanted those to stick out on my paper and really that be noticeable because this is a fall landscape. So I decided to go with a cool frame, which means I'm using cool colors, blues, greens, purples I could use. I chose just to use blue and green, and let me just show you. I knew I was making a frame, so I didn't have to paint the center because this artwork is going to be right in the center covering that. But I wanted to give myself a nice edge that I knew, so I knew that I painted in enough to cover. So I painted that just with a paintbrush. Then I'm coming back with a stamp, and I'm using a Lego because I thought that would make a neat texture going around the outside. And I put a little bit of green paint inside this tray that we get from the lunchrooms. And I just wanted to kind of show you some things that I learned by doing this. For one, I dip it in the paint, but sometimes it gets too blobby and it would make these big blobs, and I didn't really like that. So I found if I just kind of stamped it on the side a little bit, that helped, and I didn't get those big blobs. I also noticed I could only do a few stamps before I needed to reload my paint. So I'm dipping, I stamp a little bit on the side, and then I come right on over and I'm stamping onto my paper. I found that works really well. I also want to make sure my stamps get all the way to the edge of my paper because that's what's being shown. So if I get a little bit on the table, that's okay. I'm going to go back with a sponge and get that cleaned up. So as you can see, I have printed all the way around with my Lego. I also want to kind of check before I clean up to see if there's any other areas that need to be done. And I noticed up here I didn't really get to the edge, so I want to come back and take care of that. And if there's any other areas that you think need to be filled in, you want to go ahead and go over all those, and then you can clean up. These plastic trays just get thrown right in the garbage. You don't need those anymore. Make sure your Legos or anything you're using to do that stamping and printing gets washed off at the sink, and then you put it back clean and dry. So at this point, I'm going to put this paper over on the drying rack. You know, it's got to have your first name, last name, and room code on it. And the next time I come to art, I'll be able to put my project, staple it right on top. So good luck with your frames. I can't wait to see the creative combinations that you come up with to complement your artwork.